Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today we're going to be looking at a striking collection from chetart.com. Now, Chet Art is the creation of Austin, Texas-based illustrator Chet Phillips. And he's not a playing card designer by trade. He just does a lot of really cool and interesting artwork. It's art that combines more vintage and classic artistic mediums with more modern pop art references throughout. It's a really cool combination. You'll see some of what I mean in this deck, but if you like the artwork that you see here, I absolutely recommend checking out chetart.com, his website. You can find signed prints of all kinds of artwork, including everything you're going to see in this deck right here. This one brings together one of his really popular series of artwork, and it's around matchbook label art. So he does these different fictional matchbook covers, has prints of all of them, and he brought together a whole bunch of them in this deck right here. So let's jump into it, find out what I mean. All right, starting with the tuck case, is designed to look, of course, like the front of a matchbox. You have a striking collection at the top, matchbook label art playing cards. The main image in the center is this kind of vintage inspired style. You've got this stone dragon sitting there with a match kind of held like a torch in his hands. Very cool hand-drawn look to it. Around the border on the sides, you have little flourishes in the corner, as well as some ad copy artwork, of course, by Chet Phillips, as I mentioned. Poker deck, 58 unique illustrations, and his website, chetart.com, at the bottom. Very cool front to the tuck case, and also adding kind of interesting touches on the left and the right. You have what looks like a matched strike plate, so completing the illusion of this as a matchbook. So that's where you would strike the matches. Bottom has his website, chetart.com, and top, this says this is matchbox art. On the back, you have more ad copy explaining a little bit of what we're going to see in the deck. Have a striking collection, matchbook label art, plastic coated playing cards, 58 unique illustrations emulating vintage matchbox labels. And of course, includes the 4 suits, 2 jokers, and 4 wild cards. And you'll see the first of many pop-inspired illustrations here. You have the Jester, but if you look closely, this is, of course, the Joker from Gotham City in the Batman stories. You can tell from the paint on his face there, one of many fun references we're going to find throughout the deck. The inner flap just has a little bit more design on it, and nothing printed on the interior of the tuck case. That's it. Pretty fun tuck case. It's not embossed or foiled in any way, but it is a really fun set of illustrations just from the tuck case. But let's get into the cards. So we'll start with the back design. And the back design isn't particularly matchbox art inspired, at least that I can see, but it does include these kind of flourishes and vine work all the way through, this sort of beige on green in a borderless pattern. And then in the center, you have this sort of flower with the 4 suits on it, and looks kind of like flames making up the petals of the flower. Very cool illustration in the center. It is a one-way back design. The faces are very one-way as well, but because of the 4 suits there, it is one way. But that's it for the nice borderless back design. But the real highlight of this is in the faces. Now, as we're gonna go through, and we're gonna get a chance to look at all of these, but as you can see, as I've thumbed through this really quickly, you can see that every single card, the number cards, the jokers, even the face cards, all feature one piece of art from his collection. And they're all, of course, those vintage matchbox covers that he designed. Very cool and unique all the way through, and there are themes that are carried throughout the 58, it's actually 59 cards in this deck. I'm going to try to run through real quickly, give you a sense of some of the art that's in here and some of the cool cards you get a chance to see. Now, you do get a bunch of extra cards in this. You, of course, get a pair of jokers, the red joker and the black joker. Both of them feature the same character in kind of different styles. Both of them feature, just like we saw in the tuck case, the Joker himself, straight out of Arkham. One of them has him in the same pose we saw in the box, just standing there holding a card, and the other one has him posing with a hyena. And if you look around the kind of frame of the matchbox, you get all sorts of little things that kind of lend to the Matchbox itself, but also give fun little references to the character featured. So here you got Safety Matches, Trickster Matchworks, and Chaos Match Industries made in Gotham City, well fitting for the Joker. And on the other one, you have Anarchy brand, the Clown Prince of Crime Matchworks. Clown Prince of Crime, of course, one of the Joker's nicknames. So very cool. You get the little border, almost like it is the Matchbox, stuck right onto the card. A very cool pair of Jokers. You also get 4 wild cards that I guess you could use as extra Jokers. The wild cards all feature different mythical creatures. So you've got the satyr, or the unicorn, the griffin, and the mermaid as the 4. And cool illustrations on those as well. Really nice. And then you get 1 ad card. This ad card, you got the ad copy for Chet Phillips and his website there at the bottom, a striking collection at the top, and the center image is a large phoenix rising out of the flames with a match in its beak. But if you read the side, it says Dumbledore's Army Matchworks and the Order of the Phoenix brand. So of course this is Fawkes the Phoenix from the Harry Potter series. One of many very cool references in this deck. So really like that one. Now, as you go through the rest of the deck, each rank or each number has kind of a different sub-theme, which is a nice extra little touch. So we'll try to go through these quickly, give you a chance or a flavor of what we have in the deck. Starting with the aces, all of the aces are going to be inspired by classic movie creatures. So classic horror movies. You have the monster, of course, from Frankenstein. There with the lightning behind him on the Ace of Spades. Ace of Diamonds has the Wolfman. Ace of Clubs is the Swamp Thing. You got the creature from the Black Lagoon. So Black Lagoon safety matches. And then the Ace of Hearts is, of course, Dracula, made in Romania. So very cool. Kind of looks like old Hollywood style movie posters as an inspiration on those. Now going to the 2s, we go to a completely different theme. We're going to go to Japan. These are also kind of vintage stories, but these are from vintage Japanese manga. So Japanese comic books. I personally haven't seen a whole bunch of these, but I was able to find out a little bit more. So the first one, the 2 of Spades, is a character called the Kamen Rider. You can see him there. He's a insect-looking character who rode a motorcycle to fight crime. So cool Japanese vintage styling here with the writing. You've got the mountain in the background and the character in the front. The 2 of Diamonds. This is an interesting one. This is a robot called Tetsujin 28, created by Shotaro Kaneda. And so, of course, you got the Kaneda brand there at the bottom and the robot towering over the Japanese city. Pretty nice. 2 of Clubs. This is one called Astro Boy. This was one I had heard of. Also went by the name Mighty Atom in Japan. So it was a cyborg boy there. See his 2 halves. And then last but not least is Ultraman. Another one from the 50s, but Ultraman was a little bit more of an obscure character. And I love the mix of this one and this sort of serene scene with the cherry blossoms in the back. Very Japanese scene on that one. So those are the 2s. The 3s are probably my favorite of the sub-themes. These all look at Stephen King movies. So you have It, of course, and Pennywise featured on the 3 of Spades with Float at the top. The 3 of Diamonds, this one is Carrie. She was she had telekinetic powers, and as part of her story, she burned an entire school to the ground using her telekinesis. And so you've got her as the head of a match there and in flames. Very creepy image. And then the 3 of Clubs from another Stephen King story. This is Christine the Haunted Car. It's a 1958 Plymouth Fury was the car. So you've got established 1958. You've got the car there in the background. Another one of the very cool Stephen King inspirations that he used, a haunted car of all things. And then the 3 of Hearts, probably my favorite Stephen King story. This is, of course, from The Shining. Those really creepy twin girls that were featured in the hotel. Got them standing in the pool of blood. And, of course, the hotel overlook, name of the hotel from the story. Very nice. I love that pattern in the back on this one. That's a really nice one and a great movie, great book if you haven't read those. So, from The Shining. Now with the 4s, we take a complete left-hand turn and we go to a much more lighthearted subject after the horror movies of the last one. So the 4 of spades, these go into more kind of fairy tale or children's stories, if you will. The 4 of spades is Puss in Boots, Nine Lives Matchworks. Shere Khan from the Jungle Book is featured on the 4 of diamonds. Very nice, I love the tiger. This one's one of my favorites, a Roald Dahl book, The Fantastic Mr. Fox. One of my absolute favorites growing up, and I love the smiling fox in his suit with his glass of wine there, the bird thief. Very nice, fox matches. And then the 4 of hearts, you will of course recognize White Rabbit brand. This is the March Hare from Alice in Wonderland. Very nice. Much more lighthearted with the 4s. The 5s go to science fiction inspiration. So the 5 of spades, you have Fifth Element with Corbin Dallas and the Flying Taxi. If you remember that from the movie, that one's nice. The 5 of diamonds is, everybody will recognize this one is from the Blue Phone Booth. This one's Doctor Who inspired. The 5 of clubs with that kind of post-apocalyptic vehicle there, the Giga Horse. This one comes from the Mad Max movies. Love that kind of sepia look to the whole card. And then the 5 of hearts, the Nemo brand safety matches. This is, of course, from the Jules Verne classic, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Really like the octopus tentacles there in the corner on this one. Going through the 6s, we go back to Japan, and these are for sort of the Godzilla monsters. So Godzilla fought a whole variety of monsters, or inspired a lot of these kind of gigantic monsters in Japanese movies. And so 4 of them are featured here on the 6s. You have Mecha Godzilla, the robot version of Godzilla on the 6 of spades. You have Mothra, the giant flying moth on the 6 of diamonds. The 6 of clubs, this one is Gamera, who's a kind of turtle inspired with the tusk there, and a gigantic turtle. And then my favorite of the 4, the 6 of hearts, this is King Ghidorah. It was this 3-headed dragon that fought against Godzilla in one of the movies. I really love the symmetrical look of the 3-headed dragon with the writing all around. This is definitely my favorite of the 4. So the 6 of hearts, King Ghidorah. Going to the 7s is another subject that's close to my heart. A lot of kind of 80s action adventure movies. Actually, one of them's a good bit more modern than the 80s, but you have Skynet brand, first of all. This is, of course, from the Terminator movies. The 7 of diamonds from Alien. You've got Xenomorph there. Very nice. That classic Alien with that huge arching head there. The 7 of clubs, much more recent. This one's from Stranger Things. This is the Demogorgon. Stranger Matchworks. And then the 7 of hearts is Predator, Trophy Hunter brand. Very cool with the dreads there. Really like Predator. All right, now going to the 8s, and these go to some of the interesting classic 80s kind of more fun movies. These are also ones I remember well growing up. So Beetlejuice was this weird comedy horror movie. I remember liking it a lot as a kid. This is one that I tried to rewatch as an adult this last Halloween. Turns out this movie does not hold up. It is a pretty terrible movie in my opinion. But you have Beetlejuice, this kind of specter, this spirit that haunted some recently deceased people in the movie. Very cool look to him standing there in the graveyard in kind of a bug form. So Beetlejuice on the 8 of spades. 8 of diamonds, the classic Gremlins movie. So you have the gremlin coming out of the water there. Gremlins, you don't want to get them wet, so of course he's standing in the water. Very cool kind of Japanese wood carving feel to this one. Really like that one. 8 of clubs, my favorite of the 4 movies in this set. Ghostbusters, of course, you have the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man there. Very nice. Love that kind of menacing look on his face and the vintage style of this whole thing. And the 8 of hearts from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. This is the Care Bennig Beast, this vicious man-eating bunny. And you can see him with the field of bones from his victims in the back. Very cool, hilarious scene from a really classic movie. So the Care Bennig Beast. All right, turning to the 9s, we get kind of what I'll call, I guess, evil creatures from different inspirations. So the first one is the Krampus. This one's was featured in a movie recently, I believe, but this one's from Central European kind of fairy tales, and was this creature that would punish naughty children during Christmas time. So you got naughty children beware, and he's got that kind of impish, evil grin on his face with the kid there in his basket that he's captured. All right, going to the 9 of diamonds, you have Smaug from The Hobbit. Of course, this was the kind of final villain or bad guy in the Hobbit movies and books. So you've got him there protecting his pile of gold. The 9 of clubs is Beelzebub, another name for Satan or the devil in various cultures. So Beelzebub featured there. And the 9 of hearts, the H.P. Lovecraft classic Cthulhu. Very nice. I love the kind of dichotomy of this really evil creature, but he's standing in this kind of very serene scene. Almost looks cute in this one, but I love that kind of mixture there, that mismatch between the background and the image versus the character. That's the 9s. The 10s now go into what I'll call ships from different cult classic films. So the first one is Flash Gordon. From the 80s. Flash Gordon had the Ajax war rocket, and so that's the ship that you see here shooting out. I love that comet look. The shape of the ship is fascinating. That's a really cool one. 10 of diamonds comes, of course, from Firefly. Anybody recognize that from the red and white striping coming out from the sun there? So you got the Firefly card. The 10 of clubs, anybody recognize this one? This is, of course, from Star Wars, and that is the Millennium Falcon. Love this, their Kessel Run safety matches. Kessel Run, of course, the run that Han Solo did in less than 12 parsecs. And the 10 of hearts is, I'm not a Trekkie, but I recognize the USS Enterprise, a famous ship from the Star Trek movies, TV shows, etc. There you go, Starfleet brand matchworks. Going to the court cards. So the court cards aren't people or anything like that, just kind of continues the theme of more matchbook covers. So with the jacks, we go back to Japan. Again, not really a set of topics that I'm too familiar with, but these are all from more recent anime films or shows. So this one's from Spirited Away. That character right there is Kaonashi, which literally means the faceless. This is kind of one of the bad guys, the antagonist in the film. I love him standing on that bridge with that classic Japanese architecture in the back. The Jack of Diamonds, this cute character here is from My Neighbor Totoro. That's Totoro, these giant, I don't know, kind of rabbit-looking creatures, like fat rabbits. That one's pretty cool. The Jack of Clubs, I had never heard of this one. This one's from Howl's Moving Castle. Very cool mechanistic looking castle there. You can see it kind of propped up on 4 legs. But really nice look to the card. Just anime I'd never heard of. And the Jack of Hearts is from Princess Mononoke. So that's Princess Mononoke sitting there on the back of her wolf Moro. Very interesting. I love the pose on this one. It's probably my favorite of the 4 jacks. Really like that one. All right, going to the queens. We have classic queens from different fairy tales or stories. This one's Titania. Titania was originally from a Shakespeare play, but has also been featured by name as the fairy queen in a lot of different stories. So there's Titania. The Queen of Diamonds from the Disney films. This is the evil queen Grimhilde from the Snow White series. So you've got her there holding the poison apple. I love the dystopian look. That kind of reminds me of like a propaganda poster you'd find in some in some dictator on there. But very cool with evil across the top. Evil safety matches with evil queen. The Snow Queen brand. This is from the classic Hans Christian Andersen story. This is actually the one that inspired the Frozen movies that were all the rage over the last few years. But the Snow Queen there, that blue and white's really, really nice. And then the Queen of Hearts is, of course, the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. Second Alice in Wonderland card we've had in this one. And then last but not least are the kings. So we have some mythological or famous kings in here. So the first one is Sun Wukong, otherwise known as the Monkey King. There's actually a Monkey King deck, bicycle branded Monkey King deck that I really want to pick up someday. But the Monkey King from Cantonese culture is featured there. Really cool. Love him riding that wave. But there's the Monkey King. Second king we have is Mordor. So you got Mordor across the top. And of course there's Sauron standing guard. So this is the maker of the One Ring and the ultimate kind of antagonist from the Lord of the Rings movies. You've got Mount Doom there in the background. Of course, the matches are forged in the depths of Mount Doom. King of Clubs, the king of all monsters. This is Godzilla himself. We saw some of his opponents on the 6s, but now here is Godzilla. And again, in that woodblock carving style from Japanese styling. This is very cool. And last but not least is King Kong. Skull Island superior safety matches. And of course, King Kong raging there on Skull Island. You can see that skull rock in the back. So that is it. Those are the cards. As far as handling, these aren't USPCC, Cardamundi, anything like that, but they still handle all right. They're plastic coated cards. They actually fan reasonably well, a little better than I thought they would. They're definitely a little bit on the slippery side when you first get them out, but they handle actually not too badly for kind of a novelty set of cards. And that brings me to, last but not least, what are the cards for? Well, for me, they're a fun artwork deck more than anything. You can definitely use these for gameplay, maybe less so for Magic or cardistry. They don't, certainly don't handle well enough for cardistry. You could use these for gameplay, but it'd be a lot of fun. But for me, this is really just one that is a blast to pour over as an art deck. Very fitting for Chet Phillips as an artist. But there's all sorts of, I didn't get to all of them, but there's all sorts of little touches as you go into these cards, little details, whether it's the names on there, extra writing bits in the images, just tons of little details to pick out on every single card. It's just so much fun to go through this deck. And one that I absolutely love all the way through. I think it's just really great artwork. So really for me, it's a fun, and tremendously fun art deck to have in the collection. So if you're interested in what you see here, definitely go check out chetart.com. You can find this deck for sale along with prints of all of this artwork and tons of other really cool creations that he's got. You can find all of that on his Etsy site. Definitely worth a look. And if you like what you see here, absolutely recommend checking it out, picking one up for yourself. All right, hope you enjoyed this look at a little bit of something different, a striking collection from Chet Art. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more deck reviews and unboxings, and let me know what else you want to see in the future, and I'll see you for the next one.